All right. So what is your name?
My name is Mark Anquoe from the KIOWA tribe of Oklahoma, and I'm an activist with the American Indian Movement in San Francisco.
Okay. And the American Indian. Okay. So how did you get first associated with AIM?
My family were involved in AIM back in the 70s, and they were kind of my heroes, you know, because as a child, you know, I grew up in Oklahoma, dealing with all the racism in Oklahoma, seeing the older members of my family really standing up to white people that were, you know, being racist towards them. You know, they were my heroes, and I worshipped that bravery that they showed. And so when I got older, it just seemed like a natural thing for me to get involved in. Okay. Well, there is kind of the inadvertent racism that is a result of institutionalized racism. That's a result of the reinforcement of a racist status quo that becomes kind of unconscious. And you know, there is that, and you have to deal with that kind of racism in a certain way. But then, you know, you go to somewhere like Oklahoma or South Dakota, and then you're also dealing with, you know, the kind of blatant racism where where people call you names, where there's violence involved, where, you know, police target you just because of the color of your skin. And you know, growing up in Oklahoma, there's both kinds of racism, and they require different responses. You know, so yeah, it is complicated. You know, fighting racism is not just like, you know, a kind of a simple thing that you know, on the surface it might seem to be. It is really complicated.
Right.
You know, its roots are, you know, centuries and centuries old.
Would you say it's education would be a good way? Like in schools and just like around day-to-day life would be a good way to fight against that.
Schools, you know, schools are good in terms of, you know, you know, like in colleges, yeah, sure, you're exposed to, you know, kind of a greater diversity of ideas, and you're exposed to general attitudes that are more conducive to diverse societies. But the fact is that but that's all theory. It's all kind of esoteric, and the only real way to overcome racism as a society is to actively embrace people that are not like us in our everyday lives, and that goes for all of us. You know, that goes for Indians too. You know, we all have to, you know, see different kinds of people in our societies and be able to embrace that that's what society is supposed to be, and not that everyone is supposed to be like us.
And how would you say, like, is the message of the American Indian Movement to people around in the Bay Area?
And the message of the American Indian Movement, especially in the Bay Area, the important message has to be that Indians are still here, that the Ohlone people whose land we're on are still here, and that, you know, our cultures, our lives are still things that are relevant and need to be taken into account. And the fact is that all non-native people that exist here benefit from the genocide of our cultures, and because they benefit, they have a responsibility. I'm not talking about, like, I think people should have, like, white guilt or anything. I don't believe in people being guilty, but I do believe that when you are given a benefit or a privilege, that you have a responsibility. Just as I have a responsibility as a man to, I have responsibility to women because I live in a sexist society where I benefit from this injustice. I then have a responsibility to women. Non-native people have a responsibility to native people when they live on their land and benefit from the conquest of their cultures. So, you know, I just want to, you know, the message of the American Indian Movement is that we have to be taken into consideration, that we're still here and we need to be paying attention to.